When I first heard about the life of Ferdie Pacheco, I was blown away. Being a doctor and a broadcaster, a painter and a writer, each of these things is an accomplishment on their own, but he did it all. Growing up, I always wanted to be a doctor and I wanted to work in television. I just didn't know you could do both. But he did, and so much more. Amazing.
I believe that certain people are born stars. Whatever their endeavor, whatever they do, whatever their accomplishments, rich or poor, Ferdie's a star.
Extraordinary man. Spaniard, noble people, warriors.
Oh my God, you can't find nobody no better than him.
He's a great man. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be the fighter that I am today. And he is the greatest of all time.
I was born in Tampa, Florida, of immigrant parents in 1927. I was born in a house, not in a hospital, that was actually the Spanish consulate. My grandfather, Gustavo Jimenez, was the consul from Spain, and we had sort of like a great big happy European household. I grew up in a very loving and warm atmosphere, which gave you a lot of confidence in yourself. Of course, coming from that atmosphere, it wasn't hard to go in the different directions that I did all the way through school and my professions and so forth.
Ferdie's father, JB, was a pharmacist, and the family owned the drugstore in Ybor City. Being a doctor was always Ferdie's end goal, but he became a pharmacist first, putting himself through medical school at the University of Miami. It was here in Miami in the early 1960s that he opened his medical practice in the heart of Miami's African-American neighborhood, Overtown. The clinic was on Northwest 10th Street and Northwest 2nd Avenue.
The peculiar aspect is that I have an office in the middle of the Miami Black Ghetto, which is a very high poverty area. I'm the only doctor there. On the other hand, Muhammad Ali said, I really don't have anything to worry about because they know I'm down there to help them so that they don't care what I drive. I've never had one incident. In fact, on a number of occasions, through absent-mindedness, left a briefcase with money and checks in it and had it brought into my office by people.
There's so much I could tell you, I don't know how to start. I was coming here a long time. You know how to treat people, and you know how to respect young and old, rich or poor. I couldn't meet a nicer man in all of my life.
Dr. Pacheco has the respect of just about all the black people over here. He helps anybody.
And he does it with a smile.
Yes, he cares about me a lot. And I'm crazy about him. I really is.
You don't find many doctors do what he do. And I love him.
And also the nurse. Oh, she's a dog.
I just love people, and I love the work. And for the last 17 years that I've been working for, I have no fault. I haven't worked for a better doctor than he.
I have built a mutual trust. Once you treat enough people and do a lot of good for them, they protect me as well as I protect them from the ravages of the system.
Even when I'm not sick, he tells me to come to let him know how I'm doing in school and do I need any help of any kind. You know, I still owe him $20.
And I thank God for him, and I hope he'll continue his work until God ready for him.
Most of the people in the ghetto are wonderful, hard-working people that have been very protective. We have sort of mutual love affair going on, which I hope to continue until I die.
Through his clinic, he met many boxers and got involved in the 5th Street Gym in Miami Beach.
Ferdie wound up taking care of my fighters. He wound up taking care of their mothers, their sisters, their cousins, and the whole mishpucha.
Here he met Cassius Clay, who became Muhammad Ali. He served in Ali's corner through all his major bouts. The list of victories goes on.
I've always had a great team. people like Angelo Dundee, and most of all, Dr. Pacheco, Dr. Ferdie Pacheco, a man who's been with me ever since I won the 1960 Olympics. Me, Muhammad Ali, don't take sides with nobody, Holly, because I am the greatest. But in the doctor field, he's the greatest.
Dr. Ferdie Pacheco, we welcome him, please. How do you watch a fight?
Nervously.
I'll bet you do, yeah. The word went around where I was that his jaw was broken. It started going around the garden. I don't know where that came from.
It was confirmed that he did not have a fracture of the jaw or of the cheekbone, but just a collection of blood as a result of that left hook that dropped him.
I wonder if people are anxious, in some sense, for Fighter to be hurt, because the word just spread. People said, I heard it, I got it direct from the doctor.
And so I also heard that Joe Frazier's jaw was broken. And by the end of the evening, I heard Count Basie and Buddy Rich's jaw was broken. Everybody's jaw was broken.
Yeah.
The end of the 1970s marked a turning point for Ferdie. He had to quit the Ali circus when his medical advice that Ali retire from boxing was ignored. And there was more trouble to come.
News Weekend, Update 4.
Good evening. With a curfew now in effect, the only persons on the streets of Miami's riot-torn areas are police, National Guardsmen, and numerous snipers, looters, and torchmen setting dozens of fires.
In May of 1980, a verdict of non-guilty was reached in the McDuffie trial for 4 police officers accused of killing an unarmed black former Marine. The injustice burned, and so did whole blocks of Overtown. Ferdie's medical office was one of the casualties. The changing face of medicine was already making it hard for him to practice the way he wanted to, but the loss of his office was the final straw. He retired from medicine for good. Ferdie, aka the Fight Doctor, began a new career, that of a boxing color commentator.
This will be the first time in 15 years of working with Ali that I will not be in his corner, because I feel that he should not fight anymore, and I think this is a way to point out to him that I'm serious about it. I'll be there at the Spinks fight doing the commentary for CBS, but of course, I'll take my black bag. If Ali needs me, I'll be there for him. I'll always be there for him. He's my friend. We'll always be friends. As I said on the air, if this loss to Spinks hastens Ali's retirement, then it's the best thing that could possibly happen to Ali. But you know, with Muhammad Ali, you never know. The unexpected is what to expect from Ali.
Now, I gave Ferdie his moniker, Fight Doctor.
That's who your dad is. Your dad is the Fight Doctor. Ferdie Pacheco, the Fight Doctor. They always know it's the Fight Doctor. Oh, ha, ha, you're the Fight Daughter. Yeah, that's my dad. Because he's always that's the moniker, like, that has made him, that's what stuck.
From the years of 1978 to 2000, you can be sure Ferdie was calling every heavyweight boxing championship of note. He won several Emmys for his work, and he championed a movement for safety in boxing.
You know, I had come from seeing 2 or 3 boxing deaths. I knew I wasn't there as an observer. I was there as a safety valve. I was there as a spare tire that's going to save your life when you get in trouble. Then I said, well, maybe that's what I'm there for, to try to help people and start to instigate boxing rules and start to get involved in how can I fix this? How can I make this better?
One thing that Ferdie was always doing was looking out for the boxers. He was always worried about the boxers. And one of the things he did, he produced this little card. And it was a card in English and Spanish. And it just told fighters, if you see black spots, or if you have blurred vision, or if you're not able to walk straight, a lot of that had to do with one of his pet peeves, which was detached retinas.
Before it became fashionable to talk about boxing and safety, I can vividly remember him telling me how a brain sits inside the skull and moves around within liquid. And this is why we need helmets. This is why we need safety. This, you know, he was constantly talking about the safety issues.
He always said that 90% of the boxing was done in 5 or 6 states. And he just wanted those states to get together and unify the rules. That was a big campaign of his. And basically, this was the idea that Ferdie had 15 or 20 years ago that actually happened, and of course, he gets no credit for it.
Following a New York Times article on boxing reform, a New York assemblyman by the name of Griffith wanted to introduce a bill which would, 1, require ambulances to be present at all boxing events, and 2, paramedical training for referees, seconds, and cornermen. It was not even introduced into the floor, and why, you might well ask, would this be turned down? Well, the commissioner thought that the extra $100 required for an ambulance would be an undue financial strain on a small-time promoter, and it leaves a lingering question in my mind. Isn't the life of a fighter worth more than $100 in the state of New York?
Ferdie was the first person that insisted on NBC boxing matches that there be an ambulance at the site. This was not something that was common before. Of course, it's something that's common now, but Ferdie pioneered that.
Ferdie was a voice in the wilderness on this, and I know it pained him. I mean, he wouldn't call Ray Leonard fights after he came back with the detached retina, nor would he call George Foreman fights.
Whenever boxing people get into a controversy about rules and regulations, one principle holds firm: money talks. I want to make something very clear here. Boxing is just a sport. It's nothing more. There is no sport in the world that's worth risking your eyesight for or permanent disability, and that is the bottom line.
He spoke to us straight. If he had a score where a guy won or lost a fight and we were the different, he would say, I do not agree with you.
I felt like it was me and the guy in the bar. I'm telling the guy in the bar, hey, this guy's getting his butt kicked. Even if it's my friend getting killed in the ring, I say, he is getting his butt handed to him today.
I want to see you speak up now like you've been speaking up.
I'm getting body shots here.
Now
Help me.
you're getting some shots because you ain't doing what
I'm
you're
waiting
supposed
to referee, interview the referee.
Okay,
Give me a moment. Give me a moment. I got Mike Tyson here.
I'm going to give you a moment.
All right, let's have Mike Tyson.
Just be fair, Ferdie. Don't play this game.
If you have this kind of a fight, do you think it gets you in the condition you need for Holyfield?
Absolutely, you know what I mean? Absolutely.
We don't want Holyfield.
But can I tell you something? I just hope this guy don't forget, because before the great fight, go out there and lose to somebody, make a mistake and lose.
Thank you from two warriors and from a distraught Don King, and now we will find the lonesome dove.
Not distraught. That's the guy that wants you to.
Where is, hold it, give me the referee here. There was let's go back to Steve right now at ringside.
All right. There's guys out there bleeding and sweating all over the place. I mean, it is real action. So you got to really get in there and speak your mind and ask the real questions, and he always did that, uncompromised. That's what I say about him as a sportscaster.
I think because of Ferdie's leadership, we invented new ways of covering sound in the corners, cameras in the corners, split-screen boxes. That kind of stuff is production that's taken for granted now. It was brand new back then. And all of those production techniques were spurred by Ferdie's energy.
The fact that Ferdie's not in the Boxing Hall of Fame up in Canastota is a travesty, because he really has made some great contributions to boxing. And at the end of every broadcast, you know, we should put up, you know, this is from Ferdie. This is Ferdie's way. Everything that we're doing here, we all learn from Ferdie.
In his free moments, he loved to spend time in his home of 47 years, where he wrote many of his published works and painted in his studio.
The creative juices really flowed here, not just, you know, my parents, but all their friends. My mother's a flamenco dancer, all her flamenco friends. She was dancing, she would choreograph things. It was something to be inspired by. Paint it, you know, my father has a lot of flamenco paintings.
I saw her dance one night, and that night I said, I'm going to marry that girl. The guy I was with, I said, that's the perfect girl for me. Life would change completely if I married her. I knew that was exactly what I needed.
He loves to be around people all the time and hear what they go through and just be touched by human experience all the time, because that's what it's about.
That's what I take, hopefully, every day from Ferdie, is the desire to understand people and situations and open your eyes and live.
And this is the essence of Ferdie Pacheco. It's just a burst, just a sunburst all the time of creativity and connectivity.
I would say that Ferdie is this guy who was this larger-than-life figure who just lived life to his fullest, but at the same point, he wanted to make a contribution.
What I wanted to do was leave an imprint medically on people's lives. To draw a bottom line, it was one of the happiest times of my life. It was the only time I felt I really did something important. It was the only time I was proud of myself, really proud. I mean, I'm proud of being a painter, I'm proud of getting booked, I'm proud of being Ali, with Ali when he won, but those were nothing compared to 20 years in the garden. This was fun. This was life. This was playground. This was real stuff. And so I'm glad in my life I had them both. I had the best of both.
Rest in peace, Dr. Pacheco. I think we can all agree that you were also one of the greatest of all time.